So hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Clinton. I'm a Seventh Day Adventist Christian. In this video, we'll talk about unclean food. Why do Seventh Day Adventists don't eat pork? Why don't Seventh Day Adventists don't eat lobsters, shrimps, oysters? Those are tasty, right? We do have a sayings in our language and in Filipino that masarap ang bawal is like the forbidden are tasty. That's how I hope that my translation is good, but that's the point of it. I'm here to help you guys answer this question because this is one of the most common questions that are usually thrown at us. I've experienced this one, and I do believe that not all Seventh-day Adventists know about how to answer this type of questions because me myself was in that position before. I was raised and trained to be a Seventh-day Adventist, but deep inside, really don't know what Seventh-day Adventism is, right? And during that time, I was just blessed because my church pastor was there to help me out when I did my review in a Catholic school. And there were a lot of questions that were thrown at us, and I don't know how to answer it. I can provide some answers, but it's only superficial kind of answer. It's a shallow one. So my goal here in this channel is to help my fellow Seventh-day Adventists to answer the common questions that are usually thrown at us, so that we can strengthen our faith or study our belief, and so that you also will know if you really in a right doctrine, right? If our doctrine is really legit or true, right? I was able to study that one Catholic school. I was also curious. I haven't questioned my belief before, but I did when around that time because I don't know what to say, what to answer. I was like, oh, am I really a Seventh-day Adventist? I was just a Seventh-day Adventist by name, not by like the actual Seventh-day Adventist. But anyways, that's why I made this channel to help my fellow Adventists not to feel that way. So let's go dive in straight to the unclean food. Why don't Seventh-day Adventists don't eat pork? Bacons, those were tasty, right? The lobsters, the shrimps, oysters, shells, green shells, right? So on and so forth. And also, yeah, I was able to try it before because my parents were not fully a Seventh-day Adventist during that time when I was young. My father's side were the first Seventh-day Adventists, and then my mother's sides were Catholic until now. So I was able to try and taste this food when I was younger, but I really decided not to when I grew up and then learned more about it. Regarding this topic, you can find it in Leviticus chapter 11. This is the reason why Seventh-day Adventists don't eat it, because it's a dietary law from God. And also, the reason why Seventh-day Adventists follow this dietary laws until now, it's because for healthy lifestyle. We do believe that ceremonial laws were already crucified on the cross with Christ, but this one, it's a pro-life law. So it's not related to those ceremonial laws. So if you guys are curious, our diet is almost the same with the Jews. So if you want to study more about that one, just read the Leviticus chapter 11 and read the whole chapter. But I want to read Leviticus 11 verse 7 because this is where it's specific. The Bible said about the pork thing. And the swine, though it divides the hoof, having cloven hooves, yet does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. So it was really specified here in the Bible. Leviticus chapter 11 verse 7. But I want you guys to read it with your own eyes, okay? The whole chapter, so that you will know more about it. I'll just gonna keep jumping on verses so that I just don't want to take a lot of time to record this video. But if you have some questions regarding this topic, please feel free to use our comment section. So that's for the land type of animals. What are the animals that we are allowed to eat? You can find it in Leviticus chapter 11 verse 3, the land type. So for the water type, you can find it in Leviticus chapter 11 verse 9 with the fins and scales. Hence the reason why we don't eat the lobsters, the shrimps, so on and so forth, is because they don't have scales and fins. And in air type, it's in Leviticus chapter 11 verse 13. And for the insects, if you are interested on those things, Leviticus 11 verse 22. But personally, I don't eat those insects. I just eat the beef and chicken. Why are we still following it, right? Does it affect our salvation or something? So those are usually the follow-up questions. But we're gonna cite a Bible verse about it regarding God's judgment about eating abominations or unclean food. You can find it in Isaiah chapter 66. Isaiah chapter 66 verse 15. and until 17. So I just want to read this one quick so that you guys will have the idea of why we are following this one and is really God is serious about this topic. In verse 15 it says here, "For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire." In verse 16, "For by fire and by his sword the Lord will judge all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many." So if you're going to understand the Bible verse, this is talking about the future, the God's judgment when Jesus comes at the end of times, right? Let's proceed to verse 17. Notice here, "Those who sanctify themselves and purify themselves to go to the gardens, after an idol in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, says the Lord." So we know that this is in the future happenings, and because the judgment hasn't come yet. So that's also one of the reasons why we still follow the dietary laws. So let's proceed to the common arguments that you can hear about it. So one of the common arguments that you can hear is that it's not what people eat, but it's what that comes out from their gut or from their stomach, right? So that's one of the most common argument that you can hear. But also coming from the people that were just hearing those arguments from other people as well, and they didn't even study the Bible itself. So if you guys encounter that kind of situation, that thing in Mark 7, it talks about hand washing. It's not talking about food, because during the time Jesus were accused by the Pharisees or the Sadducees that the disciples were eating without washing their hands. So Jesus said that it's not what goes into your mouth, but it's what comes out from your mouth, like swearing or anything that might inflict evil results using your tongue, your mouth, right? So, and then the second one is the Peter's vision in Acts chapter 10, where you can really read there that God cleanses the unclean animals, right? And then in verse 13, God said, "Rise, Peter, kill and eat." So this is also one of the arguments from other Christian denominations. Why do they eat pork and so on and so forth, all the unclean foods, because of these verses. But if you're going to read these verses until the end, you will know the interpretation of this vision. It's not a literal food. It's a Peter's vision about Cornelius, or a Gentile, a Roman soldier who accepted Jesus, who believed in God. Through their faith, they were cleansed. So it's talking about that faith, because before there was a division between Jews and Gentiles, for us Gentiles. So anyone who's outside Jewish lineage, they were considered as Gentiles. So notice Peter's response though in verse 14. "But Peter said, 'Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything common or unclean.'" Because people do believe, they thought that we only just following the Old Testament, which is in Leviticus, but in the New Testament, this is one of the verse that supports that the dietary law still exist during the time of the disciples, because they were Jewish, right? So I just want you to watch out for that, the hand washing and the Peter's vision. Those are one of the most common questions that usually get thrown, and or arguments. But there are still more verses that other Christian denominations use to support their belief about that dietary laws doesn't exist anymore. But we do Seventh Day Adventists, we do believe that the dietary laws until now is still existing. So fun fact, if you guys don't know that, if you don't know about the blue zone thing, I'm gonna let you know. So the blue zone thing in the entire world, I think there are only 7 countries that belong to blue zones. Correct me if I'm wrong. And one of it is the state in California. In US is where the Seventh Day Adventists started, in Loma Linda. So that's one of the blue zones there. Blue zone is that like people live longer, probably above 100 years old. It's because of the Seventh Day Adventism lifestyle, the dietary laws. Hence the reason why probably God commanded us to follow this one, so that our life will be longer, right? It's longevity of life, because God is pro-life, right? So, and also there's studies about all those unclean foods, especially for the shrimps, high in cholesterol, pork, right? So probably that's the reason why God doesn't want us to eat it, because He wants us to live longer in this world. If you find this video useful and helpful to your spiritual life, please feel free to like and subscribe. And if you have some suggestions, what are the topics that we should talk about next, please also use the comment section. I'll be very, very willing to listen to all those suggestions and some questions as well. I will try my best to answer those questions. But please be polite in doing so. So I hope this clears your mind. Why don't we eat those kind of things, the pork, the shrimps, lobsters, and so on and so forth? I hope I was able to help you guys, and I was able to strengthen your faith at the same time. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, you take care, and God bless you all. Bye for now.